Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chev Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtaki. So continuing with our discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter 14, Three Modes of Material Nature, text number 9 onwards. Sattam Sukhe Sanjayati Rajaha Karmani Bharata Jnanam Avritya Tu Tamaha Pramade Sanjayati Uta. O son of Bharat, the mode of goodness conditions one to happiness, passion conditions one to fruitive action, and ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to madness. So goodness is also a conditioning. It's binding force. As we discussed yesterday, spirit soul is beyond goodness. So mode of goodness, like Prabhupada mentioned someplace in Bhagavatam, that there's these three mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. They're like different kind of ropes. Mode of goodness is rope of gold, mode of passion is rope of silver, and mode of ignorance is rope of iron. And they still bind the living entity. So it's a rope, even if it is a golden rope, it's still a rope. Means one is not gone beyond the material mode or the material world. If he is in goodness, so if conditions one to happiness, so conditioning is there, or binding is there. Passion conditions one to fruitive action, means work. Goodness means he is self-satisfied, he is happy, he has knowledge, but regardless, he is still in the material world. And ignorance covering one's knowledge binds one to madness. A person in the mode of goodness is satisfied by his work or intellectual pursuit, just as a philosopher, scientist, or educator may be engaged in a particular field of knowledge and may be satisfied in that way. A man in the mode of passion may be engaged in fruitive activity. He owns as much as he can and spends for good causes. Sometimes he tries to open hospitals, give to charity institutions, etc. These are signs of one in the mode of passion. And the mode of ignorance covers knowledge. In the mode of ignorance, whatever one does is good neither for him nor for anyone. So most of the population these days is in passion and ignorance. Very few in goodness, and very rare is beyond goodness. 1410. Rajastamaschabhibhuya sattvam bhavati bharata rajah sattvam tamaschaiva tamah sattvam rajastatha. Sometimes the mode of goodness becomes prominent, defeating the modes of passion and ignorance, O son of Bharat. Sometimes the mode of passion defeats goodness and ignorance. And at other times, ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So there could be one mode, particular mode, that a person is born into. The three modes are there, but one mode could be predominant. But throughout his life, not just life, throughout the day, mode of goodness can take over, mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. Like early morning time, it's mostly in goodness. Rest of the day, till the evening or till late evening, it's passion. One keeps on running around, working, and at night, it's ignorance. When the mode of passion is prominent, the mode of goodness and ignorance are defeated. When the mode of goodness is prominent, passion and ignorance are defeated. And when the mode of ignorance is prominent, passion and goodness are defeated. This competition is always going on. Therefore, one who is actually intent on advancing in Krishna consciousness has to transcend these three modes. The prominence of some certain mode of nature is manifested in one's dealings, in his activities, in eating, etc. All this will be explained in later chapters. Okay. Now, next line is very important. I was reading and I was like, Prabhupada has said it here. But if one wants, he can develop by practice the mode of goodness and thus defeat the modes of ignorance and passion. So by practice, one has to keep on practicing. Practice self-satisfaction, practice knowledge, practice goodness qualities like forgiveness, happiness. There's so many qualities of goodness, humility. So one has to practice. If one wants, means he can develop by practice the mode of goodness. It's not like many times devotees do claim, and it is also true, I'm not saying they're wrong, that by bhakti, by chanting and by performing other processes of bhakti, one can develop automatically all the good qualities in himself, which is fine, which is good. It's also one part of this practice. But the other part of practice is we have to be conscious of what we are doing, how we are doing, what we are saying, what's our behavior with others, how do we deal with others, how do we, just like there is a saying, how we behave in front of others shows our something, and how we behave when nobody's around shows really our character. I forgot what it says, how we behave in front of others. So that goodness has to be developed. It will help when we are chanting, when we are practicing other spiritual practices. It will help, definitely help. But still, we have to practice, we have to develop, we have to work on it. Also, at one place, Prabhupada said, the aeroplane of bhakti takes off from the airport of goodness. So mode of goodness is a basic requirement for one to become a devotee, actually. One could be passionate about serving Krishna. That's a different story. But the prominent mode will be goodness. One cannot act like a karmi and run around to make money, and think he becomes a devotee. Or one cannot be in ignorance all the time, sleeping, laziness, and he thinks he becomes a devotee. Of course, exceptions are always there. So we're not talking about exceptions. The rule is this. Exceptions are there, and mercy of a devotee is always there. But the rules are still rules. So we have to practice. We have to practice goodness. One can similarly develop the mode of passion and defeat goodness and ignorance. Or one can develop the mode of ignorance and defeat goodness and passion. Although there are these three modes of material nature, if one is determined, he can be blessed by the mode of goodness. And by transcending the mode of goodness, he can be situated in pure goodness, which is called the Vasudev state, a state in which one can understand the science of God. By the manifestation of particular activities, it can be understood in what mode of nature one is situated. So, by the manifestation of particular activities. If you just excuse me for a sec. Hmm. So Prabhupada says in the last line, by the manifestation of particular activities, it can be understood in what mode of nature one is situated. So how we act, how we deal with others, how we behave, that basically shows the mode of nature in which one we are in. Text number 11. सर्वद्वारेषु देहे अस्मिन् प्रकाश उपजायते ज्ञानं यदा तदा विद्यात् विवृद्धं सत्त्वमिति उत. The manifestation of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are eliminated by knowledge. There are 9 gates in the body: 2 eyes, 2 ears, 2 nostrils, the mouth, the genitals, and the anus. When every gate is illuminated by the symptoms of goodness, it should be understood that one has developed the mode of goodness. In the mode of goodness, one can see things in the right position, one can hear things in the right position, and one can taste things in the right position. One becomes cleansed inside and outside. In every gate, there is development of the symptoms of happiness, and that is the position of goodness. This particular verse, of course, the verse says Sarvadvareshu, in all gates in this body. And Prabhupada says there are 9 gates. This is how it's explained in Bhagavatam also by Prabhupada. But this particular verse, when I was learning pranic healing, the teacher of pranic healing, who started that science and who has written books, he said actually in this verse it doesn't mean the 9 gates like it is said in this purport. He said actually it means the chakras, the 12 chakras in our body. So those chakras basically in prana, according to pranic healing, they take the prana and they release the prana. They take the clean prana and release the dirty prana. And they keep on doing it, very fast. They keep on rotating and they take and release all the time. And when there is a problem in the organ, means the particular chakra which is supplying prana to that organ is either it has become too fast or too slow, first of all, or the prana that it is taking in is not clean. Either the chakra is not working properly or the prana is not clean. That's all. And that's when the problem starts. So when somebody is in mode of goodness, the aura automatically becomes very clean. Means the pranas that he is taking, the chakra is taking in and taking in are very clean prana. So automatically the organs, they become okay. So here it is said they become in every gate there is development of the symptom of happiness, and that is the position of goodness. Means the prana is very clean, and aura is clean, and the prana is very clean. So then the chakras, all the chakras, they function properly. So when the chakras are functioning properly, then the person, we can understand he's in mode of goodness, because then his body will be properly balanced. When there is passion, then the aura becomes like reddish in color, and the chakras are taking in that reddish, passionate prana. So the organs, they become more active, hyperactive. And in ignorance, it's the other way around. They become less active. Organs become less active. So that is according to pranic healing literature. But here Prabhupada says 9 gates in the body, and he mentions those 9 gates, and he says every gate is eliminated by the symptom of goodness. Actually, this question, somebody asked me in the class this question many years ago, and I didn't know about pranic healing then. And the devotee asked, how does, I mean, what does it mean? The every gate, like here they said about genitals and the anus, how it is eliminated by the symptom of goodness, what exactly it means. And I didn't know. I said, this is how Prabhupada is explained, and this all I know. I have no idea what does it mean. But if I look at from pranic healing point of view, from the chakra point of view, then it all makes sense. Because here we are not talking, here Prabhupada is talking about the organs. But if you look at from chakra point of view, then the chakras are taking in and out the prana. They're inhaling the prana and then exhaling the dead energy out, dirty energy they're exhaling, giving out. So then it clears things up. But some Prabhupada explained in terms of the gates of the body. So we leave it as it is because I don't know. Text 12. Lobha pravritir arambha karmanam ashama spriha rajasi etani jayant vivriddhe bharat rishabha. O chief of the Bharats, when there is an increase in the mode of passion, the symptoms of great attachment, fruitive activity, intense endeavor, and uncontrollable desire and hankering develop. One in the mode of passion is never satisfied with the position he has already acquired. He hankers to increase his position. If he wants to construct a residential house, he tries his best to have a palatial house, as if he would be able to reside in that house eternally. And he develops a great hankering for sense gratification. There is no end to sense gratification. He always wants to remain with his family and in his house and to continue the process of sense gratification. There is no cessation of this. All these symptoms should be understood as characteristic of the mode of passion. The passion, we all know, the person wants more, 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 more. I want more. I want this. I want more. I want all this, and I want it now. That is passion. And the whole world actually is running because of this passion, and the people are in so much of ignorance afterwards. That's a different story. But it's passion. People are running around, running to make money, to get this, to get that. They're running. Just like Prabhupada, I think he once went to, or somebody showed him a Ford motor car, or he went to the Ford plant. Something like that happened. And Prabhupada looked at the Ford motor car, and at that time, in late 60s or early 70s, it was a big thing. And Prabhupada looked at that car, and he basically remarked that dog runs on 4 legs and you run on 4 wheels. What's the difference? There's hardly any difference, according to Prabhupada, because philosophically, dog is running like crazy on 4 legs, and you're running like crazy on 4 wheels, and both are going to hell. Dog is also running around for sense gratification. A person sitting in the car is also. And both are going to hell. He said, what's the difference? So that is passion. It sounds very good, passion. Like we have to make more money. This is our deadline, and this is our um, targets, and this and that. In the end, what? It's like just like uh, saying, no, it's a rat race. But whether we win or lose, in the end, we are a rat. So it's a rat race. People are running like rats, crazy. If you look, just look outside your door, outside the window. They're running whole day from early morning to late night. People are working hard, just to make money. Ravan did so much of tapasya, so much, 10,000 years of tapasya by cutting off his heads. He would, after 1,000 years of tapasya, he would cut off his head and to please Lord Brahma. After 10,000 years, he had only one head left. He was going to cut off that head. He was about to. Brahmaji appeared. Okay. I'm satisfied. What do you want? So after he got the benedictions from Brahmaji, then he pleased Shivji. He got so many benedictions from Shivji. And then what? Doing tapasya. When he was doing tapasya means complete negation of sense gratification and concentrating one's mind on the Supreme. Of course, for him, the Supreme was Lord Brahma, so he concentrated on Lord Brahma. So after this austerity, after he gets all the powers, he does what? He does unlimited sense gratification. He gets into that. So that is passion. Nothing but passion. Austerities, so we do so we can enjoy later. But that's not what austerities are for. And this is what people are running around, running. And in the end, what happened? He he made the big mistake of kidnapping Sita because in passion he could not see. If he was in mode of goodness, he could have seen what will happen if I kidnap Sita. He was so passionate he did not see. Did not see means that is mode of ignorance. So passion and ignorance combined, and he died. Ram killed him. Vibhishan, on the other hand, he was in the mode of goodness always, and he was a devotee. He tried to give good counsel to Ravan. Ravan didn't listen to him. But in the end, what? Vibhishan also did austerity, along with Ravan and Kumbhakarna and Shurpanakha. They all did austerity. Other brothers also. But Vibhishan asked for devotional service to the Lord from Brahmaji when he did austerity. And he performed devotional service. He didn't go around to fight with different kings. He didn't go around stealing other women. He didn't go around like Ravan did, stole Sri Lanka from his cousin, Kubera, cousin or we can say half brother. And while Kubera was leaving, Ravan told him, leave the Pushpak Viman here, don't take that Pushpak Viman, I want it. So there's only passion and ignorance. Although Ravan was a scholar of Vedas, so studying Vedas doesn't really guarantee mode of goodness. Following the instructions of Vedas, that will guarantee mode of goodness, not just studying. So in the end, what happened? Ravan was after Sita, and he loved his city of Sri Lanka. In the end, he died and he left everything. And then Vibhishan got, of course, not Sita ji, but the Lanka, the kingdom of Lanka. So passion is always troublesome. If one remains in goodness, that's the best. But people are running, and they don't, and they would make fun of people in goodness. Ah, what is this? Teacher, how much money do you make? First question would be that. Because these days, the person who has most money, he gets most respect. Person who has power, he gets a respect. Person who has money, he gets a respect. Or any other material quality one has. If he's beautiful, if he's strong body he has, he gets a respect. Not for knowledge. People say, what for I should respect knowledge for? Everything is on my fingertips. I can Google search anything. And so I have more knowledge than you. But that's not the purpose of knowledge. This is what they can get is information, not knowledge. Knowledge is what transforms the heart. So the person in mode of goodness, he has the knowledge. Even if you don't say he has knowledge of scriptures, but at least he has knowledge. He's satisfied. And satisfaction is very important. A passionate person is never satisfied. That's what Prabhupada is writing. No? He hankers to increase his position. If he wants to construct a residential house, he tries his best to have a palatial house. Means he wants more, he wants better, he wants the best, but that's all it is. I also want something. So that is passion. And passion, one keeps on running around, and after a while, he just basically drops dead. Because the body cannot keep up with all this. So the body develops lots of ailments, and then he dies. Mode of ignorance. Aprakasho pravritischa pramado mohev cha tamasi etani jayante vivriddhe kurunandana. When there is an increase in the mode of ignorance, O son of Kuru, darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion are manifested. Darkness, inertia, madness, and illusion. Darkness means no knowledge, ignorance. When there is no illumination, knowledge is absent. One in the mode of ignorance does not work by a regulative principle. He wants to act whimsically or for no purpose. Even though he has the capacity to work, he makes no endeavor. This is called illusion. Although consciousness is going on, life is inactive. These are the symptoms of the one in the mode of ignorance. So nothing, no goals in his life, no knowledge, no inertia means not no inertia, no energy at all. Madness, cannot think straight. These are all the qualities of person in the mode of ignorance. We can compare ourselves. Where are we? Where do we stand? Sometimes we are in ignorance and sometimes in passion. And very rarely in goodness. And more rarely in bhakti, in pure goodness. Text 14. Yada sattve pravriddhe tu pralayam yati dehabhrit tadotam vidham lokan amalan pratipadyate. When one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to the higher planets of the great sages. One in goodness attains higher planetary systems like Brahmaloka or Janaloka, and there enjoys godly happiness. The word Amalan is significant. It means free from the modes of passion and ignorance. So those are the lokas. They're free from passion and ignorance. Is only Satyaloka or goodness is there. There are impurities in the material world, but the mode of goodness is the purest form of existence in the material world. There are different kinds of planets for different kinds of living entities. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets where great sages and great devotees live. So at least if one dies in the mode of goodness, he makes progress. He goes higher, goes to the higher planets. But then the problem is, even if he goes to the higher planets, there is no guarantee that he will remain in the mode of goodness until one practices to remain so. Text 15. Rajasi pralayan gatva karma sangishu jayate tata pralinas tamasi mula yonishu jayate. When one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. And when one dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. So, in passion, when he dies, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities, which means the human beings on this earth, planet Earth. Some people have the impression that when the soul reaches the platform of human life, it never goes down again. This is incorrect. According to this verse, if one develops the mode of ignorance after his death, he is degraded to an animal form of life. From there, one has to again elevate himself by an evolutionary process to come again to the human form of life. So from there, one has to work hard again to come to the human form of life. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness, and in good association transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that the human being will again attain to the human status. So human being to be born again as human being, he has to work in the mode of goodness or passion. Goodness he goes above, passion he remains here. But certainly not in the mode of ignorance. But some groups, I think Brahm Kumaris, they also say that if somebody is born in human form of life, the next life also he'll take human birth. It's not like from human you become animals. But that is not true because from this shloka, from whatever Krishna spoke to Arjuna. Text 14:16. Karmana sukritasyahu satvikam nirmalam phalam rajasastu phalam dukkham ajnanam tamsa ajnanam tamsa phalam. The result of pious action is pure and is said to be in the mode of goodness, but action done in the mode of passion results in misery, and action performed in the mode of ignorance results in foolishness. The result of pious activities in the mode of goodness is pure. Therefore, the sages who free from all illusion are situated in happiness. But activities in the mode of passion are simply miserable. Any activity for material happiness is bound to be defeated. If, for example, one wants to have a skyscraper building, so much human misery Skyscraper. So much human misery has to be undergone before a big skyscraper can be built. The financier has to take much trouble to earn a mass of wealth, and those who are slaving to construct the buildings have to render physical toil. The miseries are there. Thus, Bhagavad Gita says that in any activity performed under the spell or mode of passion, there is definitely great misery. There may be little of so called mental, mental happiness. I have this house or this money, but this is not real happiness.
Baba,
And actually, it is only mental happiness that when we say, "Oh, I'm working hard and I'm getting this and this and that," it's only mental happiness. Suppose I buy a very big house in Delhi. How long you think I can live in that house? Early morning, everybody has to go to work, come back late night, and for a few hours he lives in that house. He just has the satisfaction that I have a house. That's all. And actual enjoyment of the house or any facility is by the servants living in that house. They really enjoy. They don't have to pay for anything, and they have such a big house by themselves. As far as the mode of ignorance is concerned, the performer is without knowledge, and therefore all his activities result in present misery, and afterwards he will go on toward animal life. Animal life is always miserable, although under the spell of the illusory energy, Maya, the animals do not understand this. Slaughtering poor animals is also due to the mode of ignorance. The animal killers do not know that in the future the animal will have a body suitable to kill them. That is a law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hanged. That is a law of the state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that there is a complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant being killed. One has to pay for it. But the only problem is, or only the I won't say it's a problem. It's issue is, suppose somebody commits a crime here in the material world. If he gets caught by the police, he goes to jail, or he gets his punishment, and the court case goes on. But in the spiritual world, or when it comes to Krishna and we not following the rules of Krishna, what happens then? Suppose, like Krishna has said, or there's something Prabhupada has made us follow four regulative principles. So suppose somebody eats a piece of chicken or non-vegetarian item. So he has committed a sin. He has committed a pap, and that has to be punished by Krishna. Just like in the material state, if somebody breaks the law, he gets punished if he gets caught. But here, when it comes to Krishna, one doesn't have to be caught. Krishna knows everything, and not just Krishna, Paramatma, so many other like the sun and moon and air, all these demigods, they are also there to notify Krishna that this person has broken this law. But the mercy of Krishna takes over. He still doesn't give us a punishment right away, even if we break the law. He waits and waits and waits because he is bound by his by saying when he said in Bhagavad Gita towards the end, Sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishami ma. Means I'll absolve you of all the sins if you just surrender unto me. So even after committing so many sins, if one just surrenders, he says, Krishna, I'm yours and you're mine. Krishna will take care of his sinful reactions. So it's not like people say, ना भगवान के घर देर है अंधेर नहीं है. तो ना तो भगवान के घर देर है ना अंधेर है. उनकी कृपा है. So here Prabhupada said, that is the law of nature. In human society, if one kills a man, he has to be hanged. That's a law of the state. Because of ignorance, people do not perceive that it's a complete state controlled by the Supreme Lord. Every living creature is a son of the Supreme Lord, and he does not tolerate even an ant's being killed. One has to pay for it. So, indulgence in animal killing for the taste of the tongue is the grossest type of ignorance. A human being has no need to kill animals because God has supplied so many nice things. If one indulges in meat eating anyway, it is to be understood that he is acting in ignorance and is making his future very dark. Of all kinds of animal killing, the killing of cows is most vicious because the cows gives us all kinds of pleasure by supplying milk. Cow slaughter is an act of grossest type of ignorance. In the Vedic literature, the words Gobi Prinita Matsaram indicates one who, being fully satisfied by milk, is desirous of killing the cow is in the grossest ignorance. So Prabhupada quotes another shloka, Namo Brahman Devaya Go Brahman. That's why they pray for Krishna that you are lover of Brahmins and the cows. My dear Lord, you're the well-wisher of the cows and the Brahmins, and you're the well-wisher of the entire human society and world. Purport is that special mention is given in that prayer for the protection of the cows and the Brahmins. Brahmins are symptoms of spiritual education, and cows are the symptoms of most valuable food. These two living creatures, the Brahmins and the cows, must be given all protection. That is the real establishment. That's the real advancement of civilization. So Brahmins and cows have to be given all kinds of protection. But even after that, if one has eaten the flesh of a cow and he is supposed to suffer in the hell for as many births as there are here on the body of a cow. But mercy of Krishna still can forgive one or takes over. So if we break the law of God, He'll not gonna let us go. But in His mercy, He can do that because He Himself says, "Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishami mashucha." Do not worry, I'll absolve you from all sins if you just surrender unto me. So anyway, I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji,
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
Pranam.
Dandam.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Tell me, in fact, the way we are suffering in this material world, but still we are feeling that we are enjoying here because of our conditioning
Mhm.
for so many millions of years. Now, when we talk of people suffering in hell, in fact, if they take their birth in hell, are they not then conditioned there to kind of live there and think that they're enjoying? Or do they kind of necessarily kind of get the beatings and everything and then to make them realize that what kind of mistake you have done?
They get lots of punishment there.
But do they not become conditioned and then start thinking this is my way of life and start enjoying?
They do become conditioned, and since they don't have any knowledge or any experience or any realization of a better life somewhere else, and as you said, they do get conditioned. Yes,
And probably who then comes and rescues them? Is it Yamraj being the uh, Mahajan kind of educates them, or is it again kind of mercy of some devotees to pull
it's a
them out?
mercy of devotee because there is no other process. There is no preaching. There is no education. Nothing. Just like Yudhishthir Maharaj had to go to hell just for a second for for refusing to lie when Krishna told him to. That was his sin. That was the only sin that he had committed. So he had to go to hell just for a second, and the main reason was Krishna wanted the people of hell to take darshan of Maharaj Yudhishthir and get purified.
And Prabhuji,
Similarly,
many a time,
yeah.
sorry Prabhuji, please go. Sorry Prabhuji.
Similarly, there's a story of Janak Maharaj, father of Sita Devi. He also went to hell just to give company or association to people who are suffering there.
So periodically that keeps on happening then to kind of pull out
Yeah.
people from hell. And Prabhuji, many times, I mean, बड़े लोग जो घर के होते हैं सीनियर दे से यहीं पे सफर करना है सो मतलब kind of hell, in fact this is also kind of hell, isn't it? So I mean,
Yes, that is also true. But then there are hellish planets also. It depends. Depends on the quality of sin or how strong or not strong. I don't want to use the word strong. Um, how intense was that sin? It depends on that whether we go to hellish planet or we'll suffer here. But the suffering has to be there.
and it's amazing how people still continue to kind of commit so many sins. Thanks to Prabhupada, at least he pulled us out, and thank you, Prabhuji, for
No,
enlightening
no,
us.
but me, it's all Prabhupada. I mean, I'm myself, I'm a sinful person. What can I tell about?
No,
But
Prabhuji, you are a
but
very
by
safe.
mercy of Prabhupada, at least we know and we can try to rectify ourselves.
Yes, Prabhuji. And it's very surprising, Prabhuji. As a, for instance, at least in my native cities and all those साइड में क्या होता है people जब घर में कोई शरीर छोड़ देते हैं so in fact people read Garud Puran, and incidentally in fact I also have a copy of Garud Puran, and we discussed other days where it talks about what happens after death and kind of कैसे why we should live a pious life and all. But still फिर भी I mean I'm surprised how even after reading those books and arranging puja लोग फिर जाकर के 10 दिन के बाद they will culminate the process by eating non-veg. So I mean that mass ignorance still there.
So faith is not there, no? But it's Kali Yuga, it's everywhere. It's the same thing. So it's a duty of those who have knowledge to give the knowledge to those who don't have knowledge. So it's actually our duty.
Agree, Prabhuji. In fact, at least somebody has liberated us, or if not liberated, I mean that's a very high word. If somebody has put us on
Help
the
us.
right path, it becomes, yeah, it
Yeah.
becomes our responsibility as well. Rightly said, Prabhuji. Thank you
So
so
we
much.
have to preach to others. We have to give the knowledge to others. So we have to save others. Okay?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prajay. So we'll stop here. You all have a wonderful Sunday. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Jai
Krishna.
Srila
Jai Shri
Prabhupada.
Prabhupada.
Hare
Jai Shri
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your wonderful class. Thank you.